just northeast of our house. To the left, the neighbor house is the one that you can see. Right in the center there. Big cottonwood, another one over here. Those are at the southern Pigeon Point Park bridge. And here's that drainage under the bridge there. Just to the left of those trees. The dark spot there is peeking into the cedar house. And continuing out this way is the Wamish River and the outflow of Puget Creek. Still work to be done, but I feel like there's a gentler, easier way. Leaving that bridge, that southern bridge in Pigeon Point Park, when you're leaving 21st Avenue. Unless you stay up slope. This section of fence runs north-south, whereas most of the fencing runs east-west. This is a little drop down. The neighbor at our house. This fence drops right across the creek, heads off over into one of the little pony arenas, stopping off grounds. I think the connector down possible here. That's hugging the side and toe of another little ridge popping down from Pigeon Point Park. The path I'm walking has been just my little way. I hope to block it off because it's just a little too steep, but maybe a bunch of boulders could go in there. I believe this would be the due west and north of the 8 to 80 path running out that way. The 8 to 80 path comes out from over here. There's one on top of that little there. And then heads out to Potato Land, the cathedral, the ledge, the rock. I've been working on all this over Christmas break, and I hope to be able to enlist some volunteer help by making it a little bit easier to get in here. Maybe I can throw some work parties together. Looking up the creek, rolls down. I've hacked both sides of it. One of these days soon, tomorrow, I'll put on my wellies and pull the blackberry from the little ditch. It's gonna be real pretty area. Some flatness. I can see maybe setting up some sort of destination, because it certainly seems like an area that you could host activity. I'm excited to be out here. It's winter. One other excitement is to not only be out here, but to see it in the spring and summer when it's fully leafed out. All of the downed blackberry starts to fade into mulch. Put 1,000 hands out here yanking that stuff out. It's just a sea right here. Down slope, that's the cedar house. I can make out that red strap right in the middle of that darkness. So then this kind of, I think it's the 60 meter, the 50 meter path emerges in that patch of brighter green in the middle there, right around the nose of that ridge. And then that other path that I was pointing down out of there, running down the side of that ridge to connect with that 8 to 80 path, the 60 meter path coming around the corner. Just around that way is the top of the current Cedar House trail. Down into Puget Creek, back into the Cedar House, pointing due south, just beneath our house. Big stand of blackberry, 1 acre. Muscle metals between the swamp and you. A years long project, the whole blackberry removal. Seems like there's a doable path going down to the existing Cedar House trail down there. And then in the distance, you see a darker tree at its base, a fuzz of pinkish twigs. Well, that stretches deep due south. There's an obvious connector just above the current upper crossing going out towards potential cathedral, potato land, the ledge, those conifers there. At the base of them is that big stone. We can walk over. Across the way over there. Trail. Perhaps the city would be so inclined to turn this area into that type of trail. It's a nice little bench traveling along this line with a couple of obstacles. Old Grove Cedar Stump. All the way to that trunk there. And that is from where we came. Falling down a ridge just behind this huge stand of blackberry once removed. It is a little bit of a low area. A little wet. Just to the right is, of course, the house, but also just down slope from the house, one of the little pony rinks or waypoints, horseshoes. Perhaps it will be that again. Quite a winding little haul route out of here to try to not cut anything into the duff for fear of inviting the people. When I'm not sure if this is the path, I'm actually quite certain it's not the path. I think the path is right here. I'll circle down. Kids and I planted these conifers over here. Ryan and his kids probably planted a few more up slope. Pick it out there. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. So yeah, I think the path would poke right through there. I'm gonna follow that big monoculture across that little draw there. Background point at the very end of that tunnel. Huge sight lines this time of year along this path. Huge sight lines. Comfortable, safe feeling sight lines. Then I think coming out of there one more time, it might be just right through this laurel and holly. The other side of that tree, this side of that tree. Nice big tree. I've been poking out that way. It's plain. It's plain I have. I don't know which way to go. It might be straight through right here. I used to come out a little deeper over there. Anyway. There's no right way as far as I can tell. Reason being is here's this cottonwood anchoring. A bit of a bowl, a bit of a sink, a bit of a wetland, a bit of a critical area, a little bit of area of concern. A lot of the soil is moved at one point or other. So yeah, maybe it pokes right through there. Draws along, holds a line as best it can be held. Likely needing some reinforcement and surfacing because it's even up out of the basin. It's pretty squishy. I've been going up this way, but here you're walking across these trees. Perhaps it's just beneath this line. It gets a little chunky over there. Whereas this seems to be the old line going around. It's not my favorite that now all of a sudden you're right into in Ryan's place. Too close. Tires. 3 tires. I found the 4th. There's a potential focus for restoration work. If I really get all the tires out of here. Bring down the invasives and then maybe just start really creating, augmenting adding to, dumping into a cool wetland garden, a more, dynamic, diverse. In the distance out there, you can see from whence we came. Just to the right of that, holly and laurel. This is potato land. Some family on 21st used to come down here and play, and they hauled a bunch of garbage out here. Probably not these tires. We're just at the slope of 21st Avenue. And seems like it's somewhere in here. Push back over to here, up into the thing. That family moved away, but I think maybe before they moved away. Yeah, before they moved away. The kids are much older, of course, but they would still come down here. This big maple fell right into the camp. So there's a bunch of garbage in there. I've dropped a lot of the laurel all the way around this area, but haven't gotten anywhere near to all of it in the camp. That's going to be an intensive process. Shout out Eric Bell with the trash removal. So then there's our ledge area. Big trees. This cool little ledge. I don't know what this would do. Gotta get around this big fallout. Nice little chocolate green up there. This is going to take a few years. But it's a worthwhile destination. Wasteland. This was all entirely opaque, 30 feet high. Even into here quite a bit. I've held some of the invasives as screen behind. There's about 6,000 poles down here. Have to figure out a fun way to make use of them. Looking out down into the Puget Creek, across the way is the north cul-de-sac of 18th Avenue on top of that ridge. 21st Avenue up above. One big liability of the spot, tons of traffic, tons of potential for nefarious activity, destructive activity, noisy activity, nuisance activity. Looking out, it's the curve, the very bottom of the ravine there. The curve where Puget Creek, traveling from the south, headed north, curves due east towards the Duwamish River. At that same curve is where the little drop-down creek, where those first initial cottonwoods were. The beginning of the walk originates, and that little creek drops down just next to the cedar house, which is behind the cedar here. I picked up fir. Still a little bit more laurel to get through, but this has now been completely opened up. Probably how it looked 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I see some theatrical potential here. Rock Music Festival. But yeah, theoretically the trail could then pass over this hump on top up here around the ledge, the boulder, the rock. Travel around through the top up there. This is a bedroom, and another one could possibly return. Those big trees there. An obvious destination. Trails might meet up out here and then circle out, potentially meet up with the Puget Creek Trail, Puget Park Trail across the way, barely visible between the cedar trees there. I'm not certain, but the equestrian endeavor might have included a bridge out that way. There's definitely some grades cut in. Usable grades cut in. That's all, folks.